and welcome back to Building with the Boys. We have, rather excitingly, Pack 5 of Agora's Routemaster. Strangely enough, we also have Pack 6. Now, we all received an email from Agora saying that to speed up the manufacturing process, they're giving us a double delivery of Packs 5 and 6, which is great, because there have been delays. I mean, this thing fell behind by a few weeks, so it's almost at the point we're a month behind. So that was cool. You know, they're going to send out 5 and 6 in one hit. Brilliant. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I'm up for that. But then things start getting weird because they're not sending out Pack 7 next month. So I don't really see where the speed up is. We're just going to go 2 months without getting a delivery. So we've had 2 months worth in one hit, but it'll be 2 months until they send out the next ones, which is slightly unusual. But okay. That's how they want to do it. They've said that Pack 7 will be on the normal schedule, the normal billing. So I don't understand where the speed up comes from. Reading between the lines, we're doing this to speed things up says to me we're doing this to free up warehouse space. Because I know they've got new models coming in, so I'm assuming that what they're actually doing is freeing up space in the warehouse by sending out double shipments. It's fine by me, we've got them. So I thought, okay, well, I'll build Pack 5 and 6, brilliant. Can't, because as of this morning, the instructions for 5 and 6 on Agora, you download the instruction on the website. The instructions for 5 and 6 weren't there. They have now uploaded the instructions for Pack 5. Those were uploaded about noon today. So I've emailed them and said, well, that's great, but again, we can't build it. And they said, no, but it'll be uploaded next week. So those of you that need the instructions, it will be available next week. You can still do this without them. There are plenty of YouTube tutorials out there and plenty of people in the community that have built this thing that can give you the instructions if you need them. So yeah, a little unusual, slightly unusual way of doing things, but that's what they chose to do. Now, something else with this one as well. This is the pack where the original Hachette sequencing falls out of sync because we should be building parts 41 to 50, but I believe it's part 43 or 40, I don't know, it's 43 or 47 was the first passenger for the bus. It was the businessman. Now Agora have said that we're not getting the passengers and the figures as standard with this. It won't be coming with it. We are just getting the model. Now, they did advertise it like that, so it's not that this has been a secret or anything. They didn't show the figures in any of the promotional work they had for it. So they're saying we're not getting them. I emailed them about this to ask, how's that going to work? And they've said that they are going to offer them as an additional extra. But I've heard nothing else about that, and they're certainly not on the site to buy. And I know that we're not that far off enclosed in the bottom deck of this bus, and once it's enclosed, if the figures aren't in place, you ain't get them in there. So they're going to offer them. That's got to be soon. It's got to be. But saying that, Hachette, who originally ran this model, are currently getting rid of their stock, what they have left of this. So if you need spares and things like that, you can head over there now, and they are offering 50% off. So you can get Routemaster packs for £4.50 at the moment, which is why I went ahead and bought the driver, because the only sort of figure or character I really care about is this one for two reasons. One, I just want a driver, so I'm not bothered if I don't have passengers. I did want a driver for it. The other reason I wanted this one is because I've heard from the people that have done this before us that getting that driver into that cab once the cab is built is a bit of a nightmare. So the plan was I'd get this one now whilst the Hachette offers on at £4.50, because one, it's cheap, and two, I'm going to put him in to the chair and build the cab around him, so I don't have to mess around trying to force that into a cab, breaking anything or bending anything or just having a bit of a nightmare. So it's done then, so he's in. So if you're building this, I'd advise you do the same. Grab yourself a driver, £4.50 whilst they're on offer, and build him into your cab. And then you got to worry about getting him in. He's already in. Just build the bus around him. I'm assuming that I can do that. I'm going to find out in a minute or not if that's going to work, because that is what we're doing in this pack. So in pack 5, which I'm doing now, we are building the driver's cab or adding windows to the driver's cab. we're mounting the driver's cab and the front grille to the chassis, and we will be building the lower deck. So I've got literally everything to build the lower deck. The sequencing, as I said, is going to fall out of sync here because we're not getting that figure. Instead, what we've got in pack 5 are parts 41 to 51 on the original Hachette numbering, but they're numbered in the instructions as 40, 41 to 50. This is where it gets weird. Then on pack 6, there would have originally been in the original run 2 more figures. There would have been the old lady and the 60s girl. So again, what should have been originally, what should have been parts 51 to 60 will actually be parts 52 to 63. Yeah. So that you start to follow this weird sequence. So it's unusual, but it's how they do it, where it's 10 packs a month over a year. And then I assume in pack 12 there'll be 11 parts, because one of those parts will be the stickers for the side of the bus. So I'm assuming in the final pack you get 12 packs, because with 9 figures in total, it reduces the part count down to 111 parts instead of 120. So that works out well. So the singing boy coming through the door, which means he must have had a good day. Anyway, I'm going to get this pack open. We're going to bring up the chassis from last month, and we're going to start the build, and it should now really start looking like a bus. Here is everything we get inside part 41. And this is windows and some electrics, and we're going to be fitting these windows to this cab piece that we built last month in pack 4. So let's get this open, have a look at what we're doing, and get those installed. That's our first 2 windows installed. Now the larger of sorry, 3 first windows installed. The larger of the 3 was just held in with these very small, what's picking that up, red SM screws that you can see just here. So colour red, same as the bus, so they're disguised, which is nice. This window here was just a pop-in, so there's a click to fit, so that goes in fairly easy. And then the final window that we installed was the front window here that is installed from the back of the cab using black CM screws. Just 3 of those holds that in place. Now, with CM screws, they have given us a mix of black and red. So it did ask us to use the black ones installed in this window, so the red are going to come up again shortly. Now, the last thing we'll do is this window here, and I can show you that now. So this is the window that we're about to install, and we are going to install these hinges to hold it in place. Not these hinges, sorry. It's these hinges here. So we're going to use these hinges, and that is an opening window for the driver. I suppose on hot days they could open the window and see through it. So we're going to install those hinges onto here, and then we will have all the windows in place, and then we are going to move on to the electrics for the, I believe, the chassis. And there we have it. We have this window in place, and as you can see, the hinge works lovely as it should. And we have an opening and closing front window. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to install these 2 other hinges, and this whole section is going to be attached to the grille. So we'll see how that goes. The next thing we've done is we've installed these 2 flaps. Now I'd like to give you a technical name for them, even in the instructions they're just called the flaps. So I assume they're for ventilation. I don't know that, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on all things Routemaster. If you know what those are for, if they're not for ventilation, let us know in the comments, be appreciated. I was kind of hoping for a bit of insight with the description of the part name, but it's just called the flaps. So I'm assuming it's for ventilation for the driver. Could be wrong. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to attach this to the bumper. So that was simple enough. This was installed with 3 MM screws which went in those 3 sockets there. But what an impact that's made. That really is a hulking great lump of bus, and really rather lovely that's looking too. Very happy with that. Next thing we're going to do is I believe we're going to install the headlights. Bulbs fitted nice and easily, just going from the back and held in place with the tape they provide. Now I have got a metric ton of test boards, so I can actually test my electric as I'm going, so I can show you that this now happens. There we go. So we've got our first headlights installed. For this stage, you can see the lights held in with tape there. We just attached this support bar here, and then This this little handle here, I don't mind telling you, if I can focus on that, but putting that little clip in, not focusing, that little clip in there, bit of a nightmare. I didn't enjoy that at all. Anyway, on to the next stage. Everything we get in stage 42. A very large piece of floor. This piece here, and some IP screws. Now, I know that what we're doing in this one is we are adjusting some wires that we've already installed to the driver's cab. I don't even know if we use this piece in this one, but let's get into it. We'll take a look. Unfortunately, the last video I filmed didn't actually come out, but I have attached the cab floor to the cab. I've now mounted the cab to the chassis, which isn't the easiest thing to do because you've actually got to install a headlight wire at the same time, and you've got to install these pipes at the same time as well. It's not easy. I'm sure there's an easier way to do it than how I did it, but managed it. It's done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to screw the cab floor to the chassis, which will hold it in place, and then we're going to start. We're going to attach the axle as well, and start tidying up these wires. I think this chassis work for part 5. You can see part 6. This is the last part. The only parts actually came with pack 42. Quite simple. It was 4 JP screws, hold that part in place, and that's it. And this will be the floor of the bus, and this is what we're going to be working on for the next, I don't know, nearly 2 packs. So all these holes in here are going to be where the seats go. We have another piece of floor we're about to work on in pack 43 that's going to go here that holds the speaker as well, but the 2 bench seats. There is another extension to this, and that will extend. So the very back of the bus hangs off the chassis, which sounds odd, but you'll see what I mean when we get there. But that's it. So the actual work on the chassis is done for this month. Well, for the next 2 months. And I don't mind telling you that the wiring's a bit of a bugger. Again, it will sort of tuck in. I mean, the way they say to you, just tuck it in, and it's like, yeah, that doesn't work. So we use the holds, but then also a little bit of tape just to hold it all in place. Anyway, this is done. We're going to move on to pack 42, which is going to give us the extension to this floor. Pack 43, sorry, the extension to this floor. So everything you get inside pack 43. We get the speaker for our bus, which will make the sound of the bell. Now, I can't remember if this has engine noises or not. I don't think it does. I think all that's going to do is give us bell sounds. I might be wrong. If I am, let me know in the comments if this does make engine sounds or not. I don't remember seeing that it does. But we're going to be adding this speaker to the speaker box, holding it in with this bracket here. We have this piece which will be attaching to this section of the floor. It's the speaker box we mounted underneath here, just there. And then this piece of floor will attach to the other piece of floor we made. So nice and simple. It's just JP screws used on this one, so everything looks like it's going with JP screws. I don't think it's going to take very long at all, so let's put it together and take a look at it. There we go, nice and simple, 2-minute job. We put the speaker in, we put the 3 JP screws in, and we're going to thread this wire through. There is a channel in the side of the box there, so it's going to come out of there, and then we're going to mount it onto here using the same JP screws. Again, 2-minute job. We have applied the 2 JP screws and attached our speaker box to the floor. Now we're going to flip this one over. We have what is called the cover, which is going to attach, I believe here. No, that can't be right. Right, let's have a look where this is going. Right, that just hit the eye weird, just this way around. So it's going to go into these 2 holes here, and then all we're going to do is flip it over, and we attach 2 JP screws in there to hold it in place. Simple enough. So that's done. So we got our cover attached now. Now all we're going to do is we're going to attach this new piece to the piece we made in the last one. Now there is a very simple way of identifying this. This channel here runs along, and you'll see that it matches up. So very easy to do. And we're just going to add that with 4 JP screws, and then that is all that there is to do in this pack. And that is our completed floor panel. And this is starting to get huge now. So we got an idea of what's going on here. Now there will be yet another piece that comes off the back where the stairs go. But yeah, so stage 43, nice and simple. Now stage 44, I believe we're going to start making the seats. This is everything you get in pack 45. You get these legs here, and you get these sections of the bench seats. And I remember these. This is kind of me showing my age. I don't remember them from '66, but this weird pattern, I remember in bus seats quite vividly. And these are just plastic. There's no fabric to these, but this is texture. You can feel it. Now I can already tell you that pack 44 and 45 are identical. So we get 2 packs of these to make all these chairs, and all of them put together with JP screws. So what we're going to be doing is building all of these benches and then adding them to the base that we've been working on. So I'm not going to bore you with me building, you know, 8 benches in a row. I'll put one together. I'll show you the bench, and I'll show you how we're going to add them to the flooring. There are 2 styles of bench seats that you get. So you can see this one has got the pin on there. That's where the bar will go, the handrail. And this one doesn't. So it's quite simple. It's 2 JP screws in the back, 2 JP screws in the bottom, 2 JP screws to hold the legs on, and then quite luckily JP screws as well attach these to the frame of the vehicle. So very nice, and there's a lot to do, and it's a bit of a chore to put all these together, but they all just use JP screws, which makes life a lot easier. So we're going to start adding these to the floor section, see what it looks like. Our first 4 seats built and installed into the bus. And really rather they are too. So we put the 4 in. So these 2 sit directly behind each other, whereas we leave this gap and we put this one here, and these are the ones that have these tips here and here. So that is the layout that you're going for at this stage. As I said, you can see stage 45 over here, exactly the same. So we're going to do the exact same thing and install these chairs. Now with pack 45 complete, you see we've got all these seats in right now. We're still missing one from here, one from over there, and 2 bench seats will go here, and those are coming up in pack 46. And as you can see, it's quite simple. They just go to the diagonals. So when the poles are in here up to the ceiling, that's how they fit. You have to get the sequence right, or the poles are not going to fit into the ceiling. So follow your instructions and make sure you get the sequence right for these pegs. So we're going to move on to 46 now. We are going to be building the bench seats and the last 2 seats for this section. Fairly enormous pack 46, and you can see we get the bench seats and we get the remaining standard seats for the lower deck. We get some trim for the bench seats there. So we're going to put these together. I'll show you a bench seat when we get one built, and then we're going to be adding these to the lower deck. So that is the final 2 seats added to this section of the bus, and I'm loving it. It looks great, and I genuinely remember when bus seats looked like this. It's so retro, man. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to build the bench seats, which will be going here and here, but I don't think they're installed in this issue. I think we're just building them. Completed bench seat, and nothing complicated about this at all. Again, using the same screws we used in JP screws, 2 to hold the back cushions in, 2 to hold the bottom cushions in, and then this kicker plate along here, it's just a 3M adhesive strip which sticks on and really brings that to life. So these will be going, I can show you, along here. Very crudely installed there, but this is where these will be going. I'm going to build the second one, and we'll see what we'll do next. And there we are with 46 complete. We get these 2 steps here, which will go in front of these bench seats when we eventually fit them. And we are doing that in stage 47, which includes the back wall of the cab. Here's everything you get inside pack 47. This will actually be the front wall of the bus. So this will be the back of the cab. This will be the front that's exposed to kind of the elements. We have a fire extinguisher here, and we have a utility box which will be installing here and here. But in this pack, we will be installing our benches onto the back seat. So yeah, that's it. I don't think we're actually going to be installing this anywhere. We are just going to be installing these 2 seats and these elements onto this wall. So let's crack on, have a look what it looks like. Bench seats fitted, and wow, I love that. Again, I am of the generation enough to remember when we had these bench seats. But yeah, gorgeous thing. So that is all of the seating for the lower deck complete, and wowee, what an impact. It's incredible. Okay, we're going to add the elements to the front wall, and that's going to be it for this pack. And then we are going to start adding walls to this thing. It really is flying up, this lower deck. Okay, so what we've done so far is we've installed these brackets here and along the main wall here. And it's nice and simple, if I can show you. Just pop them in. There's a little lug that holds them in place. Then you should apply 2 DP screws to each one, and they hold in place. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to attach these 2 pieces of wall to the lower deck. Okay, so we have installed our first wall, and to do that we use these IP screws, screwing in for the bottom and it holds it in place. Now you can see just the amount of screws that have gone into just this pack. Why I've not shown you me putting every single screw in, because yeah, every single black dot, there's another screw that's gone in. Anyway, I'll flip it over and you can see what the wall looks like. So there we are, that's our first wall in place. Now what we're going to do is on the edge of these chairs we can adjust these so they will clip into here, and then those are going to be held in place with screws, which will give the chairs more support, but also give the wall a bit more support and this whole structure a lot more sturdy, because I've got to be honest, it's a little bit floppy and flimsy at the moment, but I'm sure once all the walls are together this thing will really really toughen up. There we have both walls and pack 48 complete. It's really coming along now, it's really getting there. This thing has shot up rapidly. Okay, there's 49, so we recognise these now, and 2 more of the walls which will go there and there to complete the side walls of the lower deck. So let's get to it. Now we have the 2 walls applied. It's simple enough, again, same thing, just using the IP screws to attach these in place. But now you get an idea of how big this thing really is. Just pop the front wall up there so you can see it. But that is pretty much our lower deck side walls complete. There is a lot more to do to this deck. But finally we got a little piece to add to this, and then we're done for pack 5. We get in pack 60. Nice and quick one. We've got 2 hinges now. Eventually those will hold the bonnet. And we have the root display there, which will just be attaching to the front wall here. And that will finish off pack number 5. We're done with pack 5. So this was a nice little build. I mean, it was simple enough. We just applied 2 hinges to it, which are underneath there. And this is a hinge mechanism, and then we screw it to the wall through the hinge mechanism. What strikes me as odd is they've gone to the trouble of making this a hinge mechanism, but there's no way of changing that sign. So I don't know what the point of making that a hinge mech was, but there it is. Boots and braces, I suppose it is as it was. So that will be the front of our bus. And that concludes pack 5. Let's have a chat. Here is our routemaster built up to pack 5. Now this, I've just loosely placed this on here. This is not screwed in place yet. I've just mocked this up so you can see. Same with the bonnet there, that's not put on. But our driver's in his cab are looking suspiciously like Blakey from on the buses. And that's where we're up to. And really rather lovely it looks too. Just a bit of a chat. So that's it for pack 5. You can still see part of it here. A colossal pack, huge. There is a lot of work to do in that. A hell of a lot. This is not a quick. This is not a quick build. It really isn't. Compared to the other packs up to this point, I would say this one pack takes double the time what packs 1 to 4 took, easily. But man, what an impact! What an impact! And this thing is huge. I mean, we went from literally a chassis and some bits to what is almost a complete lower deck, which is incredible. Fitting the cab to the chassis wasn't the easiest thing to do, because it's awkward. It's awkward, and I've got to be honest, I think that's bad design. Not the bad design of the model, bad design of the assembly process, because there's no way that's the most practical way to do this. That's insane. A wire could have been much longer, and then installed after or before this goes on. There was no need to do it that way. It struck me as kind of unusual that you have to line up all these, it's like 4 things you have to line up at the same time as placing this down, which isn't the easiest. And then getting the holes to line up wasn't the easiest thing either, so it took a little bit of pull to get it all where it needed to be, but it's done. And I will say this, I mean, compared to, I mean, last week I put the chassis of the Ecto onto the frame of the Ecto to the chassis, and that was a bloody nightmare, an absolute nightmare. This was far easier than that. I mean, my God, and I say tough, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't impossible. But this is a joy to build, it really is, and I love building routemaster, I do. And it does feel like cheating though, I'll be honest. Doing it this way through Agora, and how quickly this has come together, it does feel like cheating, because again, I've seen the people that came before, the people that built this weekly through Hachette, and how long it took them to get to this point. And I'm here after, what, 4 months of building? So it does feel like cheat mode. It really does, because again, it would have took, they would have been well over a year at this point to get to this stage, and it does feel like cheating that we've done it as quick as we have, but you know, that's the way it is. I have got pack 6. I don't have the instructions for Pack 6, but I do have Pack 6. Now, if you're in the same predicament as me, you can wait. I mean, the instructions, they say, are coming out next week. Or there are a world of YouTube tutorials that will tell you exactly how to use them. The best one I find, and when I say this, I don't mean... I mean, there's no audio to it. But for just straightforward, these are the instructions. The best one I've found is a channel called Back to 1985, who is currently building the routemaster, because they literally just list the parts, and then as they're putting the screws and the bolts and whatever in, it lists it up in the corner. So if you were going to carry on building your Pack 6, that would be my recommendation to go to. The hints and tips, there are, again, I don't want to use the word better, there are different ones that you can go to. Again, the people that built these before, because there's a whole community of people that have done this. So for hints and tips and information, they're kind of your go-tos. But I'd say for straightforward sort of to the point instructions, Back to 1985 is great for that, because it's exactly as is. They're very similar to, if you've seen any of the Hachette build videos, or the Eaglemoss videos, or the D'Agostini build videos, where there's no dialogue. It's just, they're very similar to that, and great. I mean, it's been a world of help to me. Before I even started building this, I was watching Back to 1985's channel to see if I wanted to do it, to see the complexity of it, and where we'd be at each pack, and what will come together. And yeah, so stage 6, which is next, again, like I said, the sequencing has fallen out. So if you start going looking for spares, you need to make sure that the spare that you're buying is in sequence to what it is. So don't just assume that the part number after part 40 is going to match what you're looking for, because it won't. It won't. So we're actually, it states that we're now at part 50. We're not. We're at part 51, because we removed one of the parts, which was the businessman. That's going to happen twice in Pack 6. We're going to remove the stage that has the old lady and the stage that has the 60s girl. So stage 6 will state that it's 51 to 60, when in actual fact it's 52 to 63, I think. This is what I mean, it's getting weird, right? So if you do go looking for spares, just make sure that you look at the actual picture, read the description of what the spare is, before you just assume by the number that that's what you're after. I've heard that they are going to offer the figures. I mean, I contacted them and asked them, because I was questioning, well, this is a 130 part build and you're sending out 10 parts a month, how is that possible? To which they stated, you won't be getting the figures. And I'm like, right, okay. So where do I get the figures? And they did say, they've emailed me and said that they will be offered as an additional extra. How true that is, I don't know. When those will be available, I don't know. But as I said, at the moment, Hachette, until the end of this month, so until the end of March 2022, Hachette are offering 50% off their remaining routemaster stock. So you can get packs for around about £4.50. I would advise, if you want to get the figures, go get them. I mean, I've got the driver just to be sort of covered, because again, as I said, he's hard enough to get into the cab when the cab's not built up. That wasn't simple getting him in there. So getting him in when there's a roof on this thing and the doorway is reduced in size would be a bloody nightmare. So that's why exactly I've done what I've done with him there. The rest of them, I mean, you got to have the lower deck passengers in before we bolt the roof on. Now, I don't think that'll happen in the Agora build until pack 7 or 8. So there's no real rush there. The 60s girl and the Clippy will just stand on the back, so you don't need to have them in. And then the later passengers that all sit upstairs. I mean, you can put them where you want, but I mean, basically, if you want passengers downstairs, you need to get them before you start putting the roof on, because you are not going to get them through the windows of this bus. And unless you have got a very, 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 very impressive set of long tweezers that you can snake through this bus to sit someone into a seat, you're not going to get them into the lower deck without taking it apart. There are products available for this in the aftermarket, and they are available from partworkupgrades.com, who, in collaboration with them, I do have a discount code for 15% off everything on their site, everything. And you can use this code here to do that. Go there, input that in, and you'll get 15% off your order. They do have a power mod coming for this, so if you don't want to run this on batteries, they will have a power mod that you can use with this without minimal kind of assembly, and you can plug this into the mains. So if you're planning on having this as a decoration, you'd like all the bells and whistles working all the time without having to worry about changing batteries or batteries leaking, it's ideal for that. So you'll be able to get from there very soon. They also have a cover that's going to be available for this, which, again, from everyone I've spoken to in the community that built this, because this thing is open with the back, dust is a bit of a nightmare for this, I've heard. So having a cover probably wouldn't be the worst thing. They've got a world of stuff on there, but that's partworkupgrades.com. Really good pricing as well, really good value for money. Can't stress that enough, compared to a lot of the aftermarket mods available. Their prices are amazing, they really are. And they've got everything. It's not just for Routemaster. You can get the Iron Man Ecto 1, the DeLorean, everything. Titanic, if it's coming out, they've got something for it. Great site. Head on over there. I'll put the link in the description, along with the discount code. It is one code per order, so you can't stack them. So load up whilst you're there and get 15% safe, and it's bloody good, it really is. But that's it for pack 5. We do have our catch-up coming up on the channel. We also have notification that Ecto 1 has shipped. We've had notification that Titanic has shipped, the Disney Dolls House has shipped, and Iron Man has shipped. So it's going to be a very busy week next week, providing they all turn up. So a lot coming up. Thank you for all your support so far. It's very much appreciated. If you enjoyed that, hit the like button, and you'll be able to see Routemaster all the way through to the end. If you hit the subscribe button, it'll give you notification when those videos comes up. It costs you nothing, helps the channel massively. So that's like and subscribe, hit those buttons, and it'd be very much appreciated. That's it for this week. We will be back. I don't know when we'll be back with pack 6. Now, it might be next month, based on how much I've got to do between now and then, or it might be a lot sooner, depending on when the instructions come through. But thank you for stopping by, and in a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice, and we'll see you next time.